Hello, everybody. Welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I'm the Outback Al.
I'm hot for justice.
I'm Chibi Noob.
And I'm NV Jitters.
And goddamn, we had a week. So, how's everybody feeling after all those episodes of turmoil and strife?
At least one of the episodes was lighthearted.
Yeah, kind of. I guess so. You just Envy. You just finished watching some of these, right?
I just finished watching Astra.
Right,
I watched the other.
Let's just get into it to start. Well, some of it's still fresh. What do we want to start with? Copcraft.
Sure, do our thing.
Okay, so this one was kind of funny and kind of uncomfortable at the same time.
I was so uncomfortable with that whole freaking episode.
Yeah.
I was just like, no.
I was
why? Why did you do this?
I was like, throughout most of the series, they were bordering on what was going on here, but it was like to the point where it was just like, okay, it's not happening, but this one just kind of was weird. Like, I like the premise. I think the premise has plenty of room for comedy and whatnot. Okay, so let's just talk about it. So, someone was smuggling something, magical items and a bunch of junk at an airport in a little Cessna or whatever. And Tilly decides, you know what the best way to stop a plane is? Chop it in midair and let it fall into a swamp, which is hilarious. But they find the box of junk and they're going through it because, there's some kind of magical hootenanny going on with it. So Tilly's examining the stuff in the middle of the night while Kay's asleep, and the cat's messing with it because cats like to climb on everything.
Yep.
And
I don't know. It was weird.
I forgot to switch to voice only. And then a little mini hand crossbow goes off, hits Tilly on the arm, and she passes out and switches bodies with the cat. Like, that's hilarious. That's a hilarious setup. You got Tilly in the cat's body who can't talk, and Tilly acting like a cat in the human body, not human, but the cat's in her body. And I'm like,
it's Freaky Friday.
Funny. It's Freaky Friday, but with a cat. Yes. And I like it because I thought it was funny. The name of the episode was "Smells Like Toon Spirit," and that was a nice little pun. But right away,
cats have to use the litter box, and they like to climb up all over people. And when it's a girl that looks like she's a teenager,
she doesn't even look like a teenager. It got weird fast. Like, there was a couple times where I was like looking away from the screen because I'm just like, no, why are you doing this?
Yeah, and I'm like, I literally was like looking away and like trying to read my book while the episode was going on because I'm just like, oh my god, why are you doing this?
Here's like the weird thing for me. She was more clothed when she got hit by the dart than what she was in the morning after. Like, had it been like that and she was like fully clothed and whatever, fine, crawl around like a cat, be weird. Why did you have to strip her down to her underwear? That was completely unnecessary.
Like, I feel like had they given her a different set of pajamas, I might have been a little bit more okay with this.
Yeah. Just, it got really creepy really fast, and like, I don't know if they were kind of going for that like kind of uncomfortable funny, kind of like awkward funny sort of thing, but it went way far into like creepy fan service areas for me. I didn't like this episode. No, otherwise, I've been enjoying the show. This just it's too much.
Yeah.
And
people on Reddit have been split on this episode. Some people like it, some people.
The rest of the episode is fine.
Yeah, like the surrounding parts are all good.
And even the main plot of it with the turning into a cat, fine, whatever. That's funny. It's an interesting idea, and she's trying to find the crossbow and figure out how to get back into her old body and communicate with people. She had to text Cecile.
Yep.
but it's just
Which can
just
phones
the
really
one
do
element.
that? I don't think phones can really do that.
I mean, you can open up. You could probably, if the cat uses the little beans on its hand, its paw, it could probably use a smartphone.
I mean, it all depends on like where like it senses heat, so that like this like the pads of the paws, if they're warm enough, can definitely like basically use your touch screen.
Okay, I can believe that. I think that a cat with a human level intelligence could figure out how to do it. So, but yeah, it's just the one element that just kind of ruins it. Like we could talk about Kay. He was also trying to. He's dealing with some dude from customs and I guess immigration or whatever, because the contraband was coming from a different place or whatever. Like, every contraband they deal with is coming from the other place, so I don't know why this is the first time we've heard of this guy. But he's, like, getting up his ass about, like, oh, there's missing an item, or, oh, don't touch that, we have to look into that. Like, I can tell right away he's, like, one of the bad guys, just part of the smuggling ring, which is convenient when you're part of ICE or whatever is going on.
And you want to talk about scenes that were uncomfortable? That whole scene where he goes to the priest's house for the after part. That was.
We should.
You mean O'Neill's apartment?
Caveat: he pretends to be a priest. He's not really a priest. I don't think he's a pimp.
No, he's not. He runs a strip club.
Well,
yeah,
okay. But still, he goes to his house. He goes to his house after the, I guess the ultimate party, and there's a goat. There's people in the fridge. There's a guy that.
There's a reason there's a goat there.
I'm pretty sure there was a guy in a mattress cocoon that was, like, being tied to the ceiling.
The goat's there for a reason.
It was just all kinds of whack.
Oh, yeah. And he's being smothered by they call her the Virgin Mary, but, I mean, I think she's anything but.
Yeah.
And Kay wakes her up with hot sauce.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah, so he's trying to figure out something. That plot didn't really go anywhere. I'll be honest, other than the fact that they're chasing down a garbage truck now, the plot really didn't go anywhere today.
Well, at least it's a to-be-continued episode.
Yeah, and we're leaving...
For this episode, this is when I'm like, I really would have cared less had they not included this.
Yeah.
And we thought last week was going to be continued, like the whole... I guess they abandoned that plot from the murder last week.
I mean, everyone was dead by the end of it.
Yeah, but I thought they were going to follow through with that politician or something like that, but I guess not.
I have a feeling it's going to come back at some point. It has to. But, like, I'm fine with whatever they're going to do next week, because I have a feeling not Cat Tilly, but, like, Tilly the cat, or, okay, the naked girl is not going to be there.
Probably not.
Maybe she'll be there at the end when they have to switch bodies back, but at the very least, we're not going to be having... I'm hoping we're not going to be having nearly as much of that creepy-ass fan service.
Yeah.
I hope so. But it is rated MA, so who knows?
Well, I mean, Kay's probably going to go back to the apartment.
Oh, God, that's...
Wait, what?
So Kay's probably going to go...
He doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, he doesn't know what's... He's too much of a dunce to realize that they switched bodies. He thinks that it was just acting weird, and...
To be fair... Tilly Cat also told Cecile, don't tell him. Which is going to backfire hard.
Oh, yeah. Like, why would you not tell him?
So he's going to open the door, and the cat is going to run out the door, because, cats like to run, and she's going to be butt naked through the streets of the city as a cat.
I don't need to see any of that.
No, I don't need either. But I have a feeling that's what it's going to turn into.
Like, Did you guys watch Big Mouth?
No.
Okay, good series. I like the caveat here. It's very good series, very funny, and it actually has a lot of stuff that I think is important because it's about puberty, and there is a lot of good stuff in there. But there was one episode, and anyone who's seen it knows what I'm going to be referencing here. There's one episode in, not the first season, but, okay, so some of the girls are trying to learn to deal with the fact that they don't like their body image.
Okay.
So they go to a Turkish bath where everyone is naked.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not entirely a comfortable scenario because they kind of show everyone. And, like, in that situation, I'm like, this is making me a little uncomfortable. I think it's supposed to a little bit, but at the same time, it's a good message because it's like, everyone has a different body type. You shouldn't be ashamed of yourself. Whatever. This makes me uncomfortable because it's clearly being done for one reason, and it's the wrong reason.
Right.
So, yeah.
Like, this whole episode just made me, like, really uncomfortable in the fact that, like, the whole thing is just, it squicks me out. I'm like,
yeah.
No.
Like, if this was a different anime that was, like, all about this, one, I don't think we'd really be watching it.
No.
But, fine. That's what you set out to do.
Mm-hmm.
I came to this show because I was like, this is a cool premise. Or actually, I came to the show because Envy recommended it. But outside of that, cool premise. Magic, cops, Lord of the Rings meets Miami Vice kind of stuff. This is not needed.
No.
This one thing is not needed. And it kind of derails the plot.
Like, I feel like had they skipped this portion, I feel like we wouldn't be missing a lot.
I mean, no, we wouldn't. But, like, just put her in some goddamn clothes.
Yeah.
I am fine with whatever antics you want to pull with it. Because, yeah, a person acting like a cat. There's some comedy in there.
Yeah, like, having her run through the streets, like, chasing around butterflies and all that stuff, like...
Yeah.
Like, having her act like Zoe from Tokyo Mew Mew, because cat things.
Yeah, why not?
Like, that's fine.
But we don't need that level of fan
this.
service. Creepy-ass fan service for it. It's totally unnecessary. I'm really wondering,
Anything
like,
else?
Most people don't comment on our videos, but I'm really wondering if anyone's going to comment, like, no, it was totally necessary, or no, it was totally unnecessary. I doubt we have enough viewership to warrant any kind of, like, war in the comments, but, like, I'm actually wondering if anyone is going to try to defend this.
I don't know.
Like, even the people, because, like, you said this was, like, split online, whether people were enjoying it or not. Is it, like, is this the main issue that everyone's bringing up?
Yep.
Okay, who is defending it?
People
I really gotta know.
A lot more anime than you guys that have been pretty much desensitized to fan service.
I understand being desensitized, but, like, who's defending it like, no, this was totally necessary?
I don't know, man. I don't try to argue with people on Reddit.
You know what?
Good policy to keep.
Yeah, you're smarter than a lot of people out there. Yeah. I think that's about all we can say about this.
Yeah, just that we did not like it.
No, this was the first episode I didn't like. It's still a yay because I feel like this plotline is going to get resolved quickly in the next episode. I hope. Without too much more.
Usually when they're like episodes that kind of go from one episode to the next, and it is like a consecutive timeline, I feel like from the formula that the show has shown so far, like, whatever happened in the last episode gets resolved, like, within the first 10 minutes of that episode, of the next episode.
I'd be fine with that.
And then the next 13 to 15 minutes of that episode basically turn into other plot stuff, so I have a feeling we're going to get back to that crossbow at some point.
Well, I'm fine with that.
And let's not forget there's only 4 more episodes left of this season. So.
That's true.
Yeah, like, if they want to do some other stuff with body switching stuff, that's interesting, and you could do something with that. I mean, who wanted that crossbow? Clearly they had an intention for it.
Also, why was the cat acting so weird?
How do you mean? I think it was just acting like a cat.
I don't know. It seemed almost deliberate, and I know cats do things deliberately, but it seemed too deliberate.
Do you mean
maybe
when it was like climbing all over the stuff?
Items?
What?
When it was like on the couch, climbing on the stuff?
Uh-huh.
I mean, I think it just wanted to hop up and see what was going on, and then Tilly was like, get off of it, and the cat thought they were playing. Maybe you're right. I don't know. We'll probably find out in the next episode. Maybe the cat's really an evil genius who, you know what, if the cat was an evil genius who really wanted another body, I feel like it would have done something evil by now. But,
oh, yeah. No, totally. But what were you saying, NB?
Maybe it was drawn to it somehow because of the magic, but then is the cat magic, or is it just a regular cat?
Maybe it smells magic because it smells like Tilly?
Maybe.
I don't know. Again, we didn't get a lore dump, so...
I want a lore dump.
Yeah, we might... I don't know. We might find out more. We might not. It might just be one of those things that just sort of happens.
Okay.
But, yeah. Not a fan of this episode, but we'll continue to watch.
Gab and Chibi, can you imagine if we switched bodies with our pets?
I don't have a pet, so I don't know what I'm going into.
My cat is pretty well behaved, so...
Houdini is super rambunctious and likes to attack Snowflake, so I don't think Snowy's going to be too happy about that.
My dog likes to eat
get
and
out
sleep.
Of your room, though?
What?
Could you figure out how to get out of your room, though?
Oh, he knows how to get out of the room.
Can you work a doorknob?
He knows how a doorknob works. He's specifically gone for the doorknob on my door, like, stretching up, trying to reach it. Like, if he were to have opposable thumbs, he'd know what to do. He's a smart cat.
Okay. Looks like Fluffy's in danger.
Yeah.
Smarter than my cat. She just meows at the door and, like, pounds at it.
Gav's just gonna be running into a wall. See, that's the kind of stuff. I would have been fine with that. That's the kind of stuff I was looking for.
My dog just sniffs outside all day, and he just eats and just begs for food and sleeps.
Yeah.
Basically 2/3 of the thing I do.
Yeah, people wouldn't notice a difference. Alrighty, let's move on because we got more crazy things that happened this week. Kanata.
This episode could pretty much be broken down into thirds. The first third, we called it. The second third, hilarity. The last third, oh my
Holy
gosh.
Crap. Actually, it wasn't even like the last third. It was like the last minute.
Yeah. Last minute.
We're getting ahead of ourselves though. Let's
clones!
cover some stuff.
They're all clones.
We were right. They're all clones. Yes.
Yeah. All clones.
Everybody's a clone.
Every single one of them.
Little thing we didn't know about that they were made in the hopes of putting the brains of the originals in the new ones.
Yeah,
which I'm pretty sure was a Rick and Morty episode.
But like now, like the concept of making clones, like now it made sense as to why they were made.
Yeah.
Because yeah, to make clones of yourself is like one thing, but why would you make a clone of yourself if not to use them for some purpose, which wasn't really drawn upon before, but
yeah, I mean, we had a couple theories before, like maybe they were clones of loved ones they had lost or something, or maybe some of the scientific people in the group were just doing it because they could. I mean, there's been plenty of times I feel like where science has just done things because they were able to.
Yeah.
But yeah, this adds a much more practical element to the whole thing that's like, okay, that's horrible, but I get it.
It makes some sort of morbid sense.
Yeah.
But the only one who seems to have a very different opinion of said parent, I suppose we can say, is Aries.
Yes.
Because she grew up with a loving mother.
Yes, and
my whole thing is, could Aries potentially be a clone of Sarah?
I'm not going to say that's with not in the realm of possibility. Who cloned her, though, would be the thing.
Could you repeat that? Sorry, you cut out.
The question is, like, at that point, who cloned her? Because it can't be the mom. I don't think that she looks nearly enough like the mom. And the mom actually seemed genuinely concerned when they were lost in space. So she's and she wasn't there at the evil meeting.
I don't think the mother is aware that she's a clone.
I think she was adopted. Because we brought up the fact that Luca and his dad don't look alike is because Luca was adopted because the original didn't want to raise Luca because he was like,
right.
I don't want to grow attached to this thing and not want to kill it later. We found out why Funi exists because they were spare parts. You want to talk about morbid. Wow.
That was like just...
Yeah. Which I'm pretty sure that's a plot of a movie or two as well. Like I'm seeing like a couple of things in this episode and kind of throughout the series where I've seen elsewhere, but it's also executed really well here, so I don't mind seeing them again.
Right.
But yeah, my theory on whether or not Ares could be a clone, I'm leaning... if she is a clone, I think Char's cloned them.
Yeah, no, that was actually my thought process because biologist thing makes sense. Also, he looked over at her when she was talking about how she couldn't believe it and was crying.
Yeah.
That I'm like, he had something to do with this.
Yeah.
This is not a coincidence.
Also, and I'd have to look back on a couple of the specific scenes, but one, his original, if he has one, is not there at the little meeting where they're discussing, like, yeah, we got rid of everyone. Neither is Ares'
It's his adoptive mother. It's his adoptive mother.
Yeah.
So, there's
and
that.
I'd have to look back at the other episode where they're like, we have to pronounce them all dead now. I don't remember who his person was, who his adopted mother or whatever. Like, so for all we know, he's still the bad guy or doing something. Because
I don't know.
I don't know if we have a bad guy at this point, other than the people who make clones. But if there is still someone on board who's a bad guy, my bets are still on Char's.
I just want to know, like, if they made the bodies to put their memories in.
Yeah.
So they could, I guess, keep on living for, like, an extended period of time or whatever.
You could do it indefinitely, if you could make
like,
it work.
Why did they... I guess they didn't want the government to find out about the clones?
No, because cloning is illegal.
Because it's now illegal, so if they were to put their own consciousness into the clones that they made, they'd be found out.
Right.
So what was the purpose of, like, so what? They were just testing it out, and now that they know it can work, they're just, like, getting rid of their clones?
No, they're abandoning the project.
Yes.
They were going to put themselves in their clone bodies. But now that's illegal, and everyone would find out whenever the kids disappeared and, like, or whatever happened.
It's better to just shove them all on a spacecraft, have them be lost in space, so there's no evidence of the fact that, like, they cloned themselves.
Yeah.
So it was all for naught.
Basically.
Yeah, they're basically giving up on Project Rising Phoenix or whatever. And they're just like, let's just clean the slate, walk away from this. I'm not working with any of you ever again.
Yeah.
So, that's that. And everyone's pretty broken up about the whole thing.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of crying.
Yeah, but Kanata's always there to bring everybody back together. He's like, well, fuck them. We're a family.
Right.
I'm like, good on you,
And
Kanata.
they're the most adorable family.
They are. They're nice.
And Olgard doesn't seem mind by it. In fact, he even said he's relieved to find out because that's why his parents, quote, never loved him because, well...
Yeah. You know what's kind of funny? Olgard didn't have a sister, so the dad got a clone, but the mom did not.
Oh, yeah, because he had a brother. That's true.
Yeah, he had a brother. We don't... Well, based on his age, I think the brother probably was legitimately a person, not a clone. Though they did look a lot alike. That's probably just genetics. But, yeah. Yeah, so they're on their way, heading home, gonna be their own people, turn in all their parents, air quote, and
they're gonna turn themselves in.
Yeah, plus he's gotta Olgar's got a good way to put Luca's dad away, the adoptive dad, for helping orchestrate a clone thing. So everyone gets a win.
And then they have a party.
Mm-hmm. They have a party to celebrate leaving the planet they thought they were going to be stuck on, meeting Paulina, and another development which apparently no one was told about until now. That
Even though
Zack
Ares cataloged it in her mission log.
Yeah, it's making me wonder, like, when are you doing these logs? Because you were very surprised by it, unless she was faking surprise. I don't know. But yeah, so Zack and Kittery came out and they were like, we're getting married. And everyone's like, what? Oh my god, that's amazing. We knew Kittery liked Zack. Did Zack like Kittery? He's like, I've always loved her. Where did the explosion come from?
I swear out of all the characters, Zack gives me to laugh the most. I don't know why. He's just so deadpan.
Yeah. It's like you think you know what's gonna happen, and he just like throws you a curveball. But yeah, he's great.
That whole sequence just made me cry. That sequence made me laugh my ass off. It was so funny.
Yeah. You can't get a read on him.
No,
So literally
really
anything he says.
So great.
Yeah, that was good times. Everyone had a good time at the party, and
then they came through with, I guess, their telescope thingy.
yeah. Whenever they
got to see home.
Whenever they fixed the ship, they were able to fix the long-range telescope. They're able to see, I think it was 2,000 light years away.
Yep.
Which I don't think is scientifically possible.
No. Well,
at the speed that
anyway.
they're doing it, but they got one more planet to jump to, and then they're getting home, and they're like, "Hey, Paulina, we're finally going home," and she's like, "Yeah, what?
Where's Africa?
That's not what that looks like. Where'd that island come from? What is this? This isn't Earth. Where are we going?
What's
We're
Earth?
lost in space." And yeah, they're like, "What the fuck is Earth?"
What's Earth? What is an Earth?
Yeah.
Wait, if your planet's not Earth, then what's it called? Astra.
Yup. So.
Alternate universe M-class planet looks
Nope.
a lot like Earth.
Nope, I don't think so. Is that your
Don't
theory
think
for
so?
now? I got my own theory.
What's your theory?
Okay, so we know that Paulina and her crew were heading off from Earth to find colonizable planets, right?
Oh.
Okay, so she crash landed there. They had a bad time, didn't find a good one. The place they found the Astra ship, not a good planet. People were dead for whatever reason. There was probably a bunch of other ones that went around, but planet Astra, and I like to point out, yeah, it's got the same name as the ship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know they named it that, but it had Astra on the thing, which means star, so it's planet star? That's kind of stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Also, is Kanata no Astra mean Kanata of Astra?
Yes.
I don't language. It's yeah. So yeah, it's a double meaning. I don't know, but yeah, my thoughts are, one of them landed on that planet, colonized it, and they said the year was 2061. Paulina, 2063. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Paulina was like in stasis for what they believe is 12 years because she went in 2051.
Yes.
That was 2051 in Earth years. They might be working off 2061 in Astra years. So she was asleep for more than 2 millennium.
There's also the whole thing of time, space, weirdness.
Relativity? Yeah, there's a possibility too. But like, if they were a
because the thing
colonized planet...
I'm
What's up?
assuming that, like, the further you get away from a planet, like, the bigger difference there is in, like, a time difference between, like...
The more gravity there
how
is,
long you're
the slower
away.
time goes. But if we're assuming most of these planets are relatively the same to Earth, as far as, like, gravity, size, density, all that sort of stuff, because they're moving mostly the same on each of these planets. we can assume that relativity's a little bit out of the thing, except when they're in space. But when they're in space, it's in hyperspace. I'm playing around with a lot of science that I don't fully understand here, so I might be a little wrong on some of this. But I think for the most part, it's not like if they went to a planet that had a lot more gravity and like an hour there is like a year on Earth. I do remember Interstellar, and I've been told that they got most of that stuff right. Yeah, my thoughts are just like, yeah, planet Astra is the colony that worked, and they haven't heard of Earth anymore because it's been 2,000 years since they got there, and they're kids. They just forgot, or they didn't learn about it in school. I still feel like that would be a thing that you should bring up, like, hey, this isn't our original planet.
Who knows?
That just looks exactly like Earth.
Not exactly. She was able to tell.
Earth.
Yeah, they had to find a comparable planet.
I'm so confused.
By my theory, or just the show?
No, then I'm assuming that those spaceships that they found were also just from Paulina's crew.
Paulina's crew, or a sister crew, because it's the Ark 4. Ark, images of Noah. 4, there had to have been others, whether that was just ones that came before it or ones that all launched at the same time. My thoughts are Earth is dead. Global warming, nuclear holocaust, meteorite. Pick your destruction.
Why she freaked out because she'd been away for 12 years.
What she thought was 12 years, which I think, again, if we're going by Earth years, and I'm right that she was there for 2 millennia, the Earth year should be like 4110. Again, I might be wrong exactly on how whatever,
no, I'm really just wondering, like, how long would the human body be able to go into cryostasis for?
I don't know.
Still be able to come out, like, relatively unscathed and still functional.
Currently, it can't. We don't have a way of thawing people out. But if we assume to some degree that they can in the future, because if we're going by Earth years, she went into the deep freeze with technology from at least 30 or so years in the future.
Right.
I don't know about the sustainability of all that, or whether you could sustain that for 2,000 years.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of...
My math might be a little wrong.
Would things start degrading over that time? Would you stay
Her
fine,
ship should have been gone. The Astra ship is in space. Sure. It could probably be fine because there probably wouldn't have been anything to erode it.
Solar wind.
Okay, maybe solar wind. But, I mean, they were by an ice planet. How much solar wind was out there?
Well, it even just depends on, like, whether it gets hit by anything. Like, impending comets, asteroids, meteors.
Just general space debris. I mean, let's be honest here. It's a show where they just so happen to pop out at a place with a spaceship.
Yeah, I know.
This is a very lucky universe.
Yes, I know. I'm running through all the things, and I'm like,
Oh yeah, it's space travel. 1,000,000,001 things will go wrong. Not will go wrong. So, yeah. But if they were being realistic, we wouldn't have a show here, so.
Yeah, I guess.
That's my working theory. If anyone's got another one, I would love to hear them. What are your guys' thoughts? One person already mentioned parallel reality, which, I mean, that wormhole thing, maybe. I don't know. We don't exactly know how that wormhole worked.
It's still, I don't know.
But I'm going to throw it out there. This is clearly the same planet that they came from.
Okay.
Or wanted to come from, unless they're in the alternate reality and they just went the different way to get to Astra before it was colonized.
I don't know.
Which would mean that it would have had, for them to be there in their own dimension, if we're working off the same timeline, that someone would have had to colonize it way beforehand and been long enough for them to forget about Earth. I don't know. I'm still going with mine, I think. But
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think it would be alternate dimensions because clearly the originals orchestrated that wormhole thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Which, if they figured out how to make a wormhole that can send you that far, I mean, what are they doing? That's an unbelievable technology.
Why haven't you used that to go to anywhere else?
Yeah, you have literally
Why
forget
did
hyperspace.
you use it to save Paulina?
Yeah, forget hyperspace. You have essentially created like a way to get anywhere, anytime, instantaneously. That is far more valuable than even the clone thing for now.
Well.
Yeah. I think we're going to continue. This is probably the best show of the season so far that I've seen. I know I haven't watched a lot, but this is...
I was going to say...
Envy, your thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my favorite so far by a long shot.
Oh yeah, mine too.
I am glad we picked this because otherwise we'd really be missing out.
Gav, what's your favorite this season?
Yeah, because you're watching more than us, aren't you?
No.
Is Envy the only one doing extra credit?
I think he is.
Okay. Overachiever.
Yeah.
Alright, so this is a yay. We're definitely watching the next one. We're going on to Steins Gate, and oh boy, we had more stuff that happened.
Yep.
I don't know what to talk about here, because it's like, do we talk about episode 11? Do we just go straight to 12? I don't know.
Well, basically, to set everything up, Okabe, throughout episode 11, throughout the typical shenanigans, he gets a creepy text message saying that he knows too much, and so that freaks him out, and he basically wants to, instead of trying to conquer the world or something like that, he wants to make his findings public, and so they have a party throughout episode 12. Him and Kurisu have a big open heart-to-heart about, like, her dad. And
yeah, they grow a little bit together.
And then shit hits the fan at the last 5 minutes of episode 12.
Yeah, this is the setup for the rest of the series that you were talking about earlier.
Yep.
Earlier episodes, not earlier today.
Yep.
So
where we find out... Oh, go ahead.
I'm like wondering, like, should we just... I guess we can talk a little bit, like, I guess Suzuha kind of told Okabe, like, hey, Kurisu works for CERN, and he's like, what? I don't know. But, yeah, and she's denying it as well. But yeah, eventually, like, at a party where they're just celebrating, yeah, it's over. They're like, hey, we connected to CERN. We might be back and forth. We're not sure yet. And Suzuha's like, oh, fuck. And she gets the hell out of there because she knows something's coming. And come it do, in the form of Moeka leading a group of masked, armed assailants who are going to take them all hostage to work for CERN.
Except for Mayuri, because she's not needed.
Yup.
And they shoot her dead.
No. I remember watching this episode the first time around.
Oh yeah, it's jarring.
I was very upset because I love Mayuri.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, no.
Yep, I feel that. I don't love her catchphrase, but she's a wonderful little cinnamon roll.
Basically, Okabe's reaction was all of our reactions.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And your reaction is to try to go back in time and save her.
I mean, that hasn't happened yet, so spoilers, but...
Well,
it's literally within the first 2 minutes of episode 13.
Spoilers! Come on, man!
Sorry!
But, yeah, another thing that happened, they did perfect another element of the phone wave. They figured out how to make a headset that could scan a person's brain, turn their thoughts and memories into data, and then compress it, send it back through the phone wave, and then implant it upon their former selves' minds. And
I love how
yeah.
It's complete science fiction for right now, but I like how Karisu explained it in a way that could make sense in another years or something like that.
Yeah. It's got enough pseudoscience to work around kind of whatever to make it believable. Apparently you can only go back 48 hours like that because your brainwaves change so much and blah, 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 and, any further than that, and they just wouldn't connect or something like that. But it's a decent limitation on it because otherwise you just go back so many years and mess with so much more stuff. But yeah, so.
Yeah.
They have that. They got a dead Mayuri. They got betrayal and all sorts of other stuff going on.
And that explains why I can never pronounce her name. Moeka,
yeah.
Kept asking Okabe so many questions throughout the series because she's working with some, she's basically spying on them to see how far they're going.
Yep.
And the thing with that is she's just so unassuming that who would have guessed?
No one.
Certainly
no one would
them.
have. I mean, we knew she was weird obsessive with the whole IBN 5100, but we just did not know why. And now we do, and now we're sorry for it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is where the plot really ramps up, and we start to see some real time travel shenanigans and oh, sorry, spoilers. It's a time travel show. There's going to be more time travel.
Yeah, not just with your cell phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then further on, they'll explain the motivations of Suzuha a lot more. Like, she'll get a lot more focus the second half of the show.
I don't want to say anything because I already know what happens, but I feel like if people are watching along with us and haven't seen this already, people can already kind of theorize what's going on here and who she is. Mm-hmm. Maybe not exactly who she is, but at least where she comes from.
Or at least certain things, because once her character was finally fully developed, a lot of things that were brought up about her finally would I'm like, oh.
Yeah, all the pieces kind of fall into place at a certain point.
That makes so much sense.
Yep. The ending is the big thing. What other thoughts do we have on these episodes?
There is also I guess Okabe had another awkward moment, this time with Karisu and Mayuri in the shower.
Oh, yeah. Well, to be fair, he thought they were dead, so that's a thing. I don't know why they were showering together.
I think that's common in Japan, that they shower or something like that. I don't know.
I don't get it. Seems like it's just there for awkward moments. Oh yeah, so that all happened. We got a Portal reference, I think. Also, Karisu seems to be on a lot of fan forums. I don't know what the fan forum was for. But yeah. I think she's slowly starting to like the Okabe. She got a bit of that tsundere thing going on, but she'd be blushing around him.
And we figure out that she's got major daddy issues, to put it lightly, because her dad hates her and hates her guts.
Yeah. But Okabe says he'll try to help.
No.
Yep.
Probably won't, but, the offer's still a good offer.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we don't have a lot to say. I feel like this has been a really short section.
Well, what else do you have to say except...
I don't know. It's like everything that's coming up is the important shit.
And sometimes that's all that matters.
Yes, this was if you're waiting for pay dirt for Steins Gate, this is the episode.
Yep. The first half was build up of doing the foreshadowing, connecting the threads, and then the back half is where everything gets put into fruition.
Yeah. Slow build to a big payoff. It is a big payoff, if anyone.
Watching the show for the first time years ago, I was pretty lukewarm to slightly positive about the first half.
Yeah.
The second half was what made me love the show. It made it become my favorite anime.
Yeah, because it's like, it's one of those shows where it's just like, if you have decent characters who are endearing or interesting or whatever you need them to be, like, as long as you have characters that people like, they'll continue watching. You don't always necessarily have to have a plot. I mean, that's how the whole slice of life genre exists. This one has a bit more of a plot, even in the beginning, than a slice of life show, simply for the fact that they're experimenting with time travel, and it's an interesting premise. But like, the reason everyone keeps coming back for it is for the characters, and that's something it has it in spades.
Yep.
So yeah, slow builds definitely work. You don't gotta be a modern anime today and just blow your wad in the first 3 episodes.
Nope.
Which, to be fair, Kanata and Copcraft really didn't do that. So I can't say that it's all shows. I feel like that's kind of become a trend with a lot of shows nowadays. It's like the first 3 episodes, wow, that's amazing, and then it just kind of peters off after a while.
Well, I think it's always like a rule. Watch the first 3 episodes and get yourself into it and like see how those go, and then sort of make a decision. Is usually how it works. I mean, that's at least how it worked for Madoka.
I think you're absolutely right. I think like a lot of people are like, give it 1 episode. If you're willing to go past that, you have to give it 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in agreement with that, because I feel like a lot of shows are like that, especially episodic ones.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain shows that I like that I'm like, the first 2 or 3 episodes kind of suck because they don't really know what they're doing yet. But by the 3rd or 4th episode, they'll figure out where they're supposed to be, and it'll start to pick up and be more interesting.
Right.
That being said, maybe we need to start changing the rule to give it 4 episodes, and if episode 4 sucks worse than episode 3 did, maybe that's telling of where it's going to end up at. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. I feel like I've ranted about new anime a lot on this. But I feel like I'm giving that a bit of an unfair rap to some degree, because it's like,
there are a lot of new anime that do break out from the traditional anime.
Yeah.
An anime we could watch in a couple years or so. However, it came out a couple seasons ago. It's called Made in Abyss. That show,
I heard about that.
It's basically a more mature Studio Ghibli kind of work. It's really good. Like it is a seasonal anime. It does have like a seasonal vibe where it ends where a story arc ends, but the way it's executed, it feels like a lot more effort was put into it.
Yeah, and I know those are out there. I think part of the problem is like there's so much coming out that it's hard to really pick out any one thing that's going to be good, because it's like there's so many different groups and so many different things could be like happening that could be good. I know we found a good one with Kanata and Copcraft despite this episode, but
Right.
I feel like there's just so much out there, and whether you like them or not, like a lot of them are going to be mediocre or uninteresting, and they're going to soak up a lot of spotlight surely for the amount of volume that they are. I feel like we're going to start seeing, I know I was like saying in an earlier episode, like we're not going to see any like seminal anime out of this current market, I guess, or like any classic anime, but I feel like I might be wrong. We're going to be seeing more cult anime or hidden gem type anime. Because like I'm right in the middle of it right now. You know, and it's kind of the same way with film. Like people look back at like the 40s or the 50s and they're like, oh, that's when movies were really great and everything was a hit. I'm like, not everything was a hit back then. We remember the really good ones, but for every Citizen Kane or Double Indemnity or Maltese Falcon, whatever, there were like 40 movies that nobody remembers because they were just kind of whatever. And I feel like, and I could probably say the same thing about, like, I loved the era of like from 2006 or 7 to 2012, where getting a lot of my favorite anime, like Code Geass and Steins Gate and Madoka, and there's like a lot of shows in there that I really like. That being said, I know there was a ton of other stuff coming out at that time that no one's going to remember because it was whatever. So I feel like we're not really going to know what the best anime of 2017, 18, 19 is going to be until maybe 2020 or 2021. Like, a lot of this is going to become, like, retrospective. Because, like, not to bring it back to movies, but, like, I feel like we also do that a lot of times with movies. Like, we'll see, you know, everyone has, like, the best picture winner or whatever's that. But then we kind of, like, look back years later and was like, was that the best one? This one I'm remembering way more, and it was much better, and all that kind of stuff. So
Citizen Kane didn't win the Oscar for Best Picture.
No, it didn't. You did Pulp Fiction, or Inception, or The Dark Knight, or so many other really great movies that I think like a lot of people would probably say like are better than a lot of Best Picture winners. So anime might just be reaching that point. I don't know, big tangent, but yeah, just some thoughts. What do you guys think about that, or Steins Gate, or whatever?
I mean, I'm thinking, like, well, because me personally, because currently right now I don't really watch a whole lot of anime. So, for me, like, it's kind of unfair for me to give that kind of opinion right now, because, like, I was really into anime when I was in, like, junior high, high school, in college, also pretty into anime, and then now recently kind of got out of it because I've been focusing more on other things, and I've just been busy with life in general. But it's just like, it's ones that people are going to come back and say, oh, have you seen this?
Yeah.
That I'm pretty sure I'm going to be like, wait, what? No, I haven't heard of this one. What's it about?
Yeah, like the hidden gem kind of anime. Like, I didn't hear about this, but like, oh, now I need to watch it.
Like, because there were a lot of animes that I didn't know about, but I'd heard about them from friends, and I sat down with said friends, and I actually was watching them, and I was, like, very surprised because I actually ended up loving the shows quite a bit. So it really all depends, like, just even, like, the kinds of shows that we're making right now, because I don't know, I feel like studios are putting in a lot of effort with like really gorgeous animation.
Oh yeah, that is definitely upped in the past decade.
That I'm like not really sure, because I've seen some shows with some good plot for sure within recent years, but like sometimes it's just like they're really weird and kind of goofy. That, like, sometimes it's kind of a miss with me. Like some of their newer ones. And not to, like, hate on some of the more recent kinds of animation, but, like, if we're going to do, like, computer-generated animation, it's gotta at least sort of be like a half and half kind of situation, because I can't do all 3D all the time, because then it just it makes me feel like I'm watching, what was that one, Arpeggio Blue Steel.
I don't know if I saw that one.
No, it was like from a couple years ago. I tried watching a couple episodes. It was a lot of that CG animation, and I was not a fan. It actually made me stop watching it because it was just so jarring to watch that.
Yeah, I see
to like
those.
Watch 3D like animations try to pretend like they're 2D.
Yeah, it doesn't translate well.
Like sometimes it can be done really, really, really well but you can't use it for everything.
No. Like, I think I've seen decent use of CG in anime when it's like, it's not character based at all. I find like a lot of times if you use like CG as like a background in an action scene, if things are moving around and stuff, you don't really notice it as much. But
that's fine.
And yeah, it's an easy way to cut costs.
Instances.
Yeah, as long as the stuff in the foreground, the characters and the actual action of the scene is still, drawn and looks good. Like, I don't have a problem with all of it. I think we need to get rid of the CGI crosswalk thing, though, because that's just... It never looks right. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It never looks right.
Yeah.
It's like everyone uses the exact same one. It has like 5 people, and they're repeated over and over and over again with the exact same motion. It doesn't... It's just uncanny. It doesn't work.
Okay, I'm off my soapbox. I'm done.
Alright, take the soapbox as long as you need. I was on there for a little while. Anyone else got a soapbox they want to stand on?
I mean, this is honestly the first season of anime I've watched more than 3 shows. Like in past seasons, I would just maybe watch 1 or 2, and then that got popular or talked about. Because 2 of my friends from high school, they're way more into anime than I'll ever be, and a lot of the times they recommend stuff to me that I've been watching. So probably about 4 of the shows I'm watching right now were recommended to me by my friends, or went out and watched them on my own.
Okay.
Like, I think out of the anime that I went into watching, I think 3 of them were ones I already planned on watching to begin with. The rest were just either for this show or my friends are recommending me.
Okay. How do they all compare together?
Some are pretty good, like Astra, Copcraft, and I'm sure you've heard of this one, Dr. Stone. It's so stupid.
I think I did hear about that one.
Yeah, and then there's other ones that are kind of just average. And then there's also one, it's called If You Daughter, you can you would even defeat a demon lord. The best way I can describe that show is it's too cute. It's disgusting.
Okay. I don't think I get it, but okay.
Yeah.
It's a lot of motorcycles.
It's basically a slice of life show. That's
with the demons.
Basically, this guy, this adventurer, he takes care of a 8-year-old little demon girl that lost her. It's basically just a wholesome show about raising a little girl, basically.
Huh.
Don't ask me how I got into it. I don't know either.
Okay.
Envy, did you enjoy this episode of Copcraft?
No.
I'm kidding.
I did not.
Yeah,
I did not.
I'm kidding. Busting your balls. Alrighty. So we're continuing on with everything, right?
Yeah.
Copcraft, despite its misstep this week, is still a good show, and we're going to see that probably through the end. Kanata just keeps hitting us, and Steins Gate is really ramping up at this point. So, next week... What are the episodes? I forget what
9 of Copcraft, 10...
Copcraft 9, Kanata 10...
And 13 and 14 of Steins Gate.
13, 14, okay. Alright, you heard it. You heard him. So... Yeah, I'll have it on the screen. Whatever. Yeah, so that's it for this week, and we'll see you guys next week with the new stuff. And if you haven't already, today also came out our thing for Perfect Blue, and if you haven't watched that, give it a watch. If you have, great! Go watch it again. So yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.